spend the next 20 minutes and a half hour talking about Google Drive. To start with, though, I'm going to show you a few options for those watching online, how they can be involved, asking questions if they have any. So I'll show you my screen and a few ways that you can see what I'm talking about right now. You can actually find the event. So if you're on the event page for this Google session right now, you can write in any questions in the chat feature right there. Or there's a Q&A feature right in what you're watching on. You can use the 9 square right up top here to get to the Q&A, and you can type in questions there. So that's a couple ways for you to ask questions if you're watching online. If you're watching the recording, obviously you're out of luck. You'll have to get in touch with me another way. So to get started with looking at Google Drive, I'm going to show you how to get there to start with, and then we'll talk a little bit about what it is, just so you can have a view of it. This is meant to be hands-on for you to kind of work your way through it. So there's a few different ways to get there. And the first, maybe the easiest one to start with, is from the CESD homepage. When you log in, if you remember, under the staff links, you can log into your email there. And because that's a Google account, when you open your Gmail, the 9 square in the top right, sometimes it's called the waffle. I heard someone call it the waffle the other day. If you click there, the Drive app icon comes up. So I clicked right here. If you click on that Drive triangle, that will open your Drive. And you're logged into it with the same username and password that you used for your Gmail. So if it's the first time you've gone to Drive, you might have to just accept that you connect to the account. If you've never logged into it before, it might ask you a few questions. Another way is basically if you go to any Google site, so google.ca or anyone, you'll usually find this little 9 square. You can use that as well. Or you can just go to googledrive.com as well to find it also. So a few different ways to get there. So once you're in your Drive, basically what Drive is it's web-based storage. So it's like a hard drive, but on the internet. So you're storing things to the cloud is what they call it, to the internet. So not on your computer anymore. You can have things stored on your computer, and you can also back them up or save another copy of them onto Drive as well, on any cloud-based storage. It gets spread out kind of all around the world onto Google servers. So anything that you save into there is being saved on servers that are owned by Google around the world. So that's one important thing to remember, is that you're not saving it to a Chinook's Edge server. It's not being saved to our servers that are housed here at the Vision office. It's going to the Google account. So there's some things to consider with that, especially any privacy issues. So anything that has sensitive student information, you would want to save that into the Drive. So that's something to consider. So to get started with some of the features of Drive, one other thing that's important to mention is that Drive has unlimited storage. So there's no capacity issue with how much you save into your Drive. You can't fill it up. Because we have education accounts, we have unlimited storage. So you can put as much as you want on there and it'll never be full, which is a really nice feature. That just started last fall. It used to be, I think, 5 gigabytes. Now it's been expanded to be unlimited. So it's really nice there that you'll never see a warning that it's too full. What's nice about Drive is that you can store and share any type of file into your Drive. If you want to edit and create, you have to actually use the Google format files. And I'll show you what those look like and how to use those just briefly today as well. So we'll look at storing and saving files that aren't Google format, like PDFs or Microsoft Word documents, those sorts of things. You can share those, you can look at them, but if you want to actually create and edit, you have to create in the Google format. And we'll also look at converting from other types of documents into the Google format as well for editing. So that kind of gives an overview of what we're going to look at for the rest of today. Any questions from there, from our audience here or online? Okay. All right. So to start with, this is the view of Google Drive, you can see I've got a lot of folders here. So just like saving into a file or a drive on your computer, similar type of organization where you have folders. Some of them you can see have a little person in the folder. That means it's a shared folder that I've put sharing settings on it, so you can share between different people's accounts. We'll talk about that a little bit more later. As I scroll down, you can also see just different types of files saved in here as well. So I've got Google Doc files, I've got a picture, a movie, a PowerPoint presentation, all saved in there. So all sorts of things. Along the left, there's a few different places you want to be familiar with. The main one is this one here that's red where it says My Drive. You can open that up as well if you want to see your folders along the left. So with that little pull-down menu, if you want to manage it there. This Shared With Me section, if you click there, this pulls up every file that someone has shared with you through your Google account. So anyone can share with you, but you have to kind of accept it to put it into your drive, right? Because someone might, you might not even know someone that shares something with you. That's never happened to me, but it could happen. So you might want to have a bit of control over what gets put into your drive. So this is kind of like a filter section, a shared with me section, where it goes there first, and then you can decide, do I want to put it in my drive, and where do I want to put it to? You have organization. So this file, if I wanted to put it into my drive, I could right-click on it and select Add to my drive. Or if I select it, there's a button up here too for Add to my drive. If it was from someone I didn't know and I wasn't sure what it was, I could just remove it. So you get to choose if the thing's shared with you, if you want to actually put them in your drive. The nice thing too is if you add something to your drive, it still also stays in the Shared With Me section. So some of these things have been added to my drive already, but they're still here. So if I forget, I think someone did share that file with me in the past, but I can't remember where I put it. You could go back to your Shared With Me drive or Shared With Me section and find it there. It'll always be in your Shared With Me. Recent means ones that you were recently working on or that you recently looked at. Starred, you can actually give a priority to certain files that you want to be saved in the starred section. And then trash is anything you've deleted, and it goes to the trash section. But you have to actually physically empty it to really get rid of it. But again, with unlimited storage, there isn't really a reason that you need to totally delete it. You can see way down here at the very bottom, it says how much I've used. I've used 4 gigabytes in my drive. That's how much I have stored in there. So if we did have the old 5 gigabyte capacity, I'd be getting kind of close, but now with it being unlimited, it doesn't matter. It also will break it down if you hover over to show you how much different types of files are in there. So going back to the main drive section, if you want to create a new file or upload a file, so upload means take a file from your computer and put it onto your drive. If you'd like to upload or create, it's the same button. It's this new button. When you click that, it opens up a section and asks you which type of file would you like to create, Google Doc, Google Sheets, or Google Slides. We'll look at those in a minute. And which type of, or would you like to upload a file? So take a file off your computer hard drive that you're working on and put it in your drive. Or you can even upload a whole folder. So if you say I've got a whole bunch of files in this one folder, and I want to bring all of those into my drive, you can upload a whole folder at a time, and it will keep that organization. So it'll create a new folder, name the same with all those files in it, and you can actually have multiple folders. So if you had kind of a structure where you had folders within a folder, it'll keep that same organization structure. To create a new folder to do your own organizing, you would go here as well. So for instance, if I create a new folder, it asks me what I want to name it. Create. Creates a new folder right here. And one thing I should mention is the reason to put it right at the top is because I've got it sorted by what was most recently modified. You can see that arrow pointing down. if I click that arrow, or I can tell it to, I can change my sorting right here by, was it last edited by me, last opened, or by name. So the sort options over here. So that's how you can change the sorting. The last modified is usually the most useful though. So if we go into this folder that I just created, you can see that there's nothing here. I could actually move files by dragging and dropping them as well. For this example, I'll show you now how to add a folder or add a file to this folder. If I wanted to upload a file, oops. So I want to upload a file to this new folder I've created. I'm going to go to New, File Upload, and then it's going to let me look on my computer that I'm on right now to see what file is it, select the file that I want to upload. So I've got one on the desktop that is a Microsoft Office document. So if I go down and find that, this one right here, I'm going to select it and click Open. And now you can see this little pop-up shows me that it's uploading it to my drive, and there it is. You can see it shows it as a Word document right in there. Because this is still in a Word document, I can't edit it. That's why when I open it in my drive, so all I did was double click on it, all it does is gives me a preview window. So I can read it, I can see it, but I can't edit it because it's still in a Word file format. It gives you a few options. If I wanted to share this with other people, I can do that through their Google Drive. So if you had someone else who wanted to share it to their Google account, you can share a Word document. You could print it from here, and you could download it. So if you stored it on your drive, went to another computer, say your home computer, and wanted to download that same file off of there, it works kind of like people would use a thumb drive, right? Instead of having to actually carry the thumb drive with you, though, you just have to have internet access. So as long as you have an internet-connected computer, you can download it somewhere else. If you wanted to edit this file, you have to convert it. So to do that, you can right-click on it and open with Google Docs. What that will do is create a copy in Google Docs format. Looks similar to any word processor like Microsoft Word. Just go back and show you that again. So I right-click on it, open with Google Docs. Now it's open in a Docs format. And I can edit it, I can delete things, change formatting, move things around, all sorts of things. You can see back in that folder, I've now got two copies, that Word copy and that Google Docs copy. If I then wanted to make some edits and save it again in a Word document, say the person I'm going to share with only uses Microsoft Word, I could then, in that Google Doc version, go to File and Download As, and I can download it as a Word document. So save it back onto your computer, kind of the reverse, save it to a Word document onto that computer. Or you can see the other rich text formats, PDF formats, so you can save it in multiple formats. So that's uploading a file. You can also do that with a PDF. I'll show you that again. If you go New, File Upload, and PDF here, I'll select from the computer, hit Open. See a little bar that says it's uploading it. Now when I open it, it'll give me a preview because it's a PDF. It's still in PDF format. You can see all the information in it, you can read it, you can share it. You can also then open it with Google Docs. PDFs are a little bit different though, especially one like this, which has a lot of images and formatting. It probably won't convert very cleanly, so you'll have to go through and do some editing to make sure it looks good. What it will actually do is make each page an image from the PDF, and then the second page will have the text on it. So this first page is actually an image of the PDF page completely, which looks just like the PDF page. The second page will be any text it was able to pull out. And because this one had so much text in formatting, it's hard for it to pull much out. You can see this page worked a lot better. So I can actually edit this. So if you're looking at being able to edit the PDF, this is an option as well. So that first page didn't have a lot of text and it was really embedded in the formatting, so it didn't pull anything out of it. The second page, though, this is the image version. The edit version came out much better with all the text. And again, now I've got two copies, a Google Doc copy and a PDF version. I can edit that Google Doc version, save it as a Word document, PDF, share it with others. Now to create a file, very similar, you go to New, create a Google Doc, and it creates the doc in whatever folder you were already in when you clicked on New. So I was in my Google Drive test folder, and I hit New, create a new one. It's got a title up here. So on the top left, if you just click on the title, it starts out as untitled. You can change the title, write, format, and it's in your Google Drive. So you can see it shows up there now. One other thing about uploading and converting, you can actually set it so anytime you upload a file to your drive, it'll automatically convert for you. So if you know every time you upload a Word document, you just want it automatically to convert for you. You don't want to have two copies. You want to just only have Google Doc formats of what you upload. If you go to the settings cog on the right here, and go to settings, under the general tab, that convert uploads, if you click that, toggle that on, anytime you upload something to your drive, it'll automatically convert that to Google Docs format. I don't typically do that because I like to see both versions, so but that's an option. All right, so just quickly as well, there's other different types of apps that you can create in here. I won't go too in-depth into them this time, but there's Google Sheets, which you can create. Just like if you're familiar with Microsoft Excel, a spreadsheet, formulas. And you can also create Google Slides. It's compatible with PowerPoint, slideshow presentation. Similar, you can upload a PowerPoint into your drive and then convert it into a Google Slides format if you want to edit it. It works reasonably well. You'll have to go through though and check your formatting. So sometimes the text might be in a different place or things like that. You'll want to just make sure that it's lined up the same way. And then the important thing to talk about as well is sharing. And that's kind of where what we've seen so far is basically cloud-based storage, those kind of suite of productivity apps very similar to Microsoft Office. What sets them apart is the ability to share and collaborate within them. With PDFs or Word documents, if you were sharing them, often that meant saving it to a thumb drive, giving it to someone else, or emailing them to someone and getting emails back. But what you'd end up with are multiple copies. So if you were working together with someone on a file, you'd create a file, send it to them, they'd make edits, send it back to you, and then you'd have all these different versions. So you'd have to really make sure you had the most recent version. What's nice about Google Docs is if you're collaborating with someone, you can use the share features to make sure that you're always working on the same version. Kind of keeps it all together that way, which is a nice feature. So to get to the share settings, and this is the same on all of the different types of apps that you can use with your Google Drive, so Google Docs, Sheets, Slides, this blue share button in the top right. The default, as it says there, as I hover over it, is to keep a file private only to you when you create one. So the very first setting is that it's only your file, no one else has it or can use it. If you go into those sharing settings, it gives you a few options to start with. You can enter people's names or addresses that you want to share with. So if you know someone you want to collaborate with, start writing their name in. You can see it pulls up different accounts from our global address list in Chinook's Edge. So using their CESD 73 account, because those are Google accounts, you can select who you want to share a file with. If you want to remove them, you just click the X beside their name. You can give them 3 different levels of collaboration. You can allow them to edit it, which means they can do whatever they like to that document. You can allow them just to comment on it, which would mean they can see it and they can write comments along the side, but they can't actually change the document itself, which is really nice if you're looking at student work, peer evaluations, those sorts of things. And the last one, the most simplest, is just to view it. So that's where you're sharing it for someone to see, but you don't want them to have access or to be able to change anything or say anything about it. You just want them to see it. So 3 different settings for collaboration. You can write a note in there as well, that when they get the message that you shared something with them, it'll send them an email saying, this person has shared this file with you, here's a link if you want to access it. And then that note that you write in, whatever you write in, maybe an explanation of why you shared it with them, will be in there as well. Other ways to share are, as it says up here, a shareable link. So if you click there, you can get a web link to share with people where they can just click the link to open the file. And this is nice if you want to share with multiple people, but you don't want to write in all those email addresses. So maybe there's 10 people in your school that you want to share this with, but you don't want to have to go through and find each address. If you just take this link and make sure you put it somewhere where they can get it. So if you have a contact group or something like that already that you want to share something with, or if you have a presentation you want to embed that in, that's a great way to share as well. One thing you have to be careful with, though, when you're sharing with the link is, again, you can see there's different levels of sharing, basically. So you can share that link to anyone in Chinook's Edge. You can edit, comment, or view, those same 3 settings. But we can actually go beyond just Chinook's Edge. We can share the link and say anyone in Chinook's Edge can find this page and access it. Or we can say just anyone on the internet. They don't even have to be logged into their Chinook's Edge account. If they have this link, they can access that page. So if you're sharing with someone outside of Chinook's Edge, or maybe who doesn't use their account, that's a good way to make sure they can get there, as long as they have that link you shared. Or you can say anyone on the web, as long as they can Google your site, basically, find that page, and either edit, view, or comment. And again, you can change those settings at the bottom here. Any questions about documents or sharing?
So how do you take that off? So what if you clicked on share the link, and then all of a sudden you decide, no, I don't really want to share the link?
Good question. So the question was, just so you can all hear, if you've shared the link already and then you change your mind, you want to get rid of that, you can always go back here. So let's say I've done that. I've clicked done, it's been shared. If I go back now to my sharing settings, I can go back to this link sharing, and I can turn it off again.
So if it says off,
that means
you're not sharing it.
Yeah, if you set it to off, that means only the people you've invited specifically have access. So you can always, as the owner, go back and change that.
Can I ask one more question?
Sure you can.
So if I've opened a new document and it's sitting here, and now I can't get back to my drive. Like I don't know how to close it or get back to my drive without getting rid of my drive.
So you open a new document, like I've got a lot of tabs on the top here. Every time you create something new, it creates a tab.
Okay.
Is your
so
drive?
I have to always go back onto the other tab?
Yeah, your drive should always stay open as a tab.
Okay.
Unless you maybe closed it. If you did, you can just go back to, it should still keep you logged in. If you go back to googledrive.com, you can just Google Drive. It should get you back there.
Okay, thank you.
Or again, if you go to that 9 square or waffle, English I could call it, go back to your drive. You can also access docs, sheets, slides from there as well. They are considered separate apps, but they work through Google Drive, right? Because Drive is your place to store files like your docs, sheets, and slides, as well as your Microsoft Word or PDF files as well. Okay. A couple quick things then, just wrapping up, is also your view in Google Drive. If you want to change that, you can see I've got it listed kind of with all my folders. You can change to the grid view. So you can see all of my folders. It makes them a little bit smaller. Then underneath you can see kind of thumbnails of any files that are what I'm looking at. So if I go to that Google Drive test folder I made, it shows the little thumbnails of the files I have in there. You can go to a list view, like I had before. And within each folder, you can again change how you sort. If you want it to be by name, alphabetical, have it sort that way. You can say last modified, so the last one I worked on or edited. Change it that way. Okay, if I delete something, so this test one, I go up here and click remove. Go to my trash, over on the left. Should show up in there in a minute. Oh, that's sorted by name. It should be sorted by last modified. Oh, these are folders. There it is. So there it is underneath the folders. You can see the test one. If I decide I don't want to have it in my trash anymore, I can tell, first of all, to delete forever or just to restore it. You can also do that by right-clicking on it. Restore, so put it back where it was, or delete forever. Hit restore, it'll be back in my drive within that folder I had it in before. Back where it was before. All right. Any other questions about the basics of Google Drive? One other quick thing that just popped in my head is using the search feature. It's a Google product, so that's kind of their best feature is beyond the sharing and collaboration, it's searchability. Within your drive, you have a search bar. So it's really actually powerful if you end up with a lot of files and you're not sure where you put something. You can start writing in, and it'll actually start filling in. So maybe if you didn't remember what it was, it'll give you some suggestions based on what you typed in. You can start seeing some students. This also will look in any of your folders. It doesn't have to be the folder you're in, and it'll also look within your trash, within your shared with me. You can click on this little pull down and actually tell it where to look specifically. So you can say for a type of file, maybe it's just a PDF file, just a Word file, or a Google Docs file, who owns it. So you can get a little bit more specific with this little pull down in the search bar as well. So those are the basics of Google Drive. Hopefully it was helpful. If you've got questions, you can definitely email me at alwhitehead@cesd73.ca. And look forward to sharing some more with you in the future. Thanks.